Hello everybody, welcome back to CNS Corvettes, and happy National Corvette Day to everybody. June 30th, which as you see this on Friday will have been yesterday, is National Corvette Day. Why is it National Corvette Day, you ask? Because on June 30th, 1953, the very first Corvette rolled off the assembly line in Flint, Michigan. In 1953, there were only 300 Corvettes made. And for you Corvette trivia enthusiasts out there, how many individual fiberglass panels made up the 53 Corvette? The answer is 46. You can put that one in your pocket and save it for auto trivia one night. Anyway, happy Corvette Day. If you look outside my window right now, it's 96 degrees with about 105 degree heat index. Summer is definitely here. So in that vein, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you today about a basic checklist of things that you need to go over on your car as we head into the hottest and, in most parts of the country, wettest parts of the month, parts of the year. So this is Lyle's summertime checklist. But before we get there, please remember, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit super thanks if we've been helpful to you and you want to donate a little money to our cause. Do all those things for me because that's what allows us to keep going. Thank you very much for everybody who watches, contributes, comments, or otherwise participates in our channel. In fact, as of tomorrow, I think we'll have hit 30,000 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. Thank you all for helping. Back to the summertime checklist. First thing we're going to look at on our car before we start driving through the summertime or going on that summer road trip is your tire pressure and your tread depth. Tire pressure because you know, when this roads down here in Florida get to 120 or 130 degrees or more, what would have been just fine back when it was 50 degrees outside can now be too much tire pressure. So on a hot day, go outside, make sure that you've actually equalized your tire pressures to right around 35 all the way around the car. That should keep you well below the max inflation pressure of any tire and keep the car comfortable to drive. So tire pressure first. Second, check your tread depth. Make sure that you've got at least quarter inch or more of tread left on that. You can use a penny. I did another video on this, using a penny. Put Abraham Lincoln's head down in the tread. If you can see the top of his head or his nose, your tires are bald. If all you can see is his beard or further down, you're probably fine. But because of the rainy months, and because Corvettes have such a wide stance and such big footprints with those wide tires, they love to hydroplane. So having tread that can move water out of the way and maintain that contact patch on the cement or on the asphalt is very, very important. If you got through the winter months because the car was in storage or because you live in the south and we don't have snow and everything was fine but pretty dry, now's the time. If you think you might need tires, do tires now. Also, along with that, same idea, do your wiper blades. Always a good time at the end of spring, now that the pollen's gone and we're getting into rainy stuff, do your wiper blades now. It's no time like the present, and you'll thank me when you're in the middle of that toad-choking downpour. Along with that, make sure your washer fluid's topped up, because what's the other season we're in? Bugs. And bugs can make things very, very difficult to see, especially at night, so make sure you have a good quality washer fluid to go along with your new wiper blades. As your car sits outside, many of us, like, you know, those of us here in Florida, I drive my Corvette to work and it sits out in the sun and bakes all day, and it's a black car. When I get in that car, it is like an oven, and I have excellent AC, but I start the car and it takes a good 5 minutes before the AC begins to cool me. The moment you start your car and the AC starts working, as soon as it has pressure and it starts pumping refrigerant around, it's going to start cooling, but first it needs to cool the 130 degree airbox, then it needs to cool the 130 degree ducting, then it needs to cool the 130 degree dash, and so on and so forth, before it can start delivering cold air to you. So be patient with your AC system. Certainly within 10 minutes you should be feeling quite comfortable in the car. If you're not, you probably need to have somebody check out your AC system, but at least give it 5 minutes to kind of catch up and cool down all the things that air has to route through before it gets to you, before you decide that your AC isn't cold enough. Another big thing you're going to want to consider on your C4, C5, C6, C7, C8 is a removable windshield shade. Okay, the kind that kind of accordion up, you fold them and leave them in the passenger footwell. When you park your car, you put them up and block out the sun. That's going to do a number of things. Remember, Corvettes are famous for having that beautiful steep rake to that windshield. That's really sporty and really awesome looking. The problem is that's also one big way for the sun to come in and cook your dashboard and warm everything up so that it takes forever for your AC to cool you down. More importantly, if you guys have cars like the 4LT in the C6, the 3 whatever in the C7, where you have leather wrapped dashes, nothing, and I mean nothing, kills a leather dash faster than direct exposure to sunlight for hours and days on end. I'm not saying this is going to cause your leather dash to never wrinkle, but you are going to be able to save your dash a lot of stress and a lot of damage from the sun if you simply buy a custom shade that is meant to fit in that space and blocks the sun from constantly soaking it with UV rays and extra heat. Okay, I've got several of them listed down below, C5, C6, C7, and C8 down here from Amazon. Those are the ones that I use here at the shop, and I'm just giving you that information so that if you want one, you can grab one. I know they make them for C4s and C3s. I couldn't find any on Amazon in the search that I did, but they're definitely out there. But putting that shade in saves your dash, keeps the car cooler overall, and will allow your AC to cool you off faster because it's not having to compensate for cooling every piece of plastic and metal in the dash while it's doing it. So keep that in mind. Under the hood, there's some things you need to do. This is the time of year to do it. First of all, make sure that your coolant level, engine coolant level, is at the right level, and with the car cold, not hot, cold, take the cap off of your coolant reservoir tank and get a hold of some coolant test strips. I've got a link to some of those down below that I'm sure my buddy Alan here can put up a picture of it. It's just a little strip that you dunk in there, and it comes up and it tells you the alkalinity, it tells you if it's healthy, it tells you what the actual freeze point is, which those of us here in Florida don't worry about. But even if your system is full, if that coolant is old and has started to chemically change, it's not doing a good job of cooling your car, and it may very well be causing damage, especially to aluminum parts that it's flowing over. So it's like $6 to buy those. It's just linked on Amazon down here. I'm not selling them, but we use them all the time, and it's something you can keep in your glove box and check every 2 months. Dip, read, and then you know. While you're in there looking at that, make sure to check your belts and hoses. If your belts are becoming brown, that means they're getting old. A lot of people don't know how to check for cracks in the ribbed part of the belt, but if the color of the belt is looking like Buster Brown shoes, it's time for belts. Hoses, again, when your car is cool, if you squeeze the hoses, they should feel malleable, but they shouldn't feel like a gummy bear. If you start feeling gummy bear when you're squeezing that hose, it's time. Because as pressures and temperatures rise, that hose that might not have popped in the wintertime is very capable of popping in the summertime. So avoid that failure and replace the hoses if need be. Now, the last big thing, and this is my number one point today, we want your car to remain cool while you're driving. I'm not talking about the AC. I'm talking about the engine, the radiator, the coolant system, all working to keep your car at a safe operating temperature for the engine so that you're not overheating or you're not causing damage. You know, when you're sitting down here at a stoplight on a day like today, it can easily be 130 degrees under that car, and with no air flowing over it while you're sitting in traffic, you can start seeing that needle do this. Gets up to 220, past 220, it's getting a little warm. So things you can do that are simple to make sure that your car is cooling are make sure that your center air dam is in place under the car on the C4s, C5, C6, C7. And then you're going to want to go ahead and make sure there's no debris on the front of the AC condenser, because your radiator lives right behind that, and this is what you see when you look in. I'm going to take you outside and show you all this, but basically air dams, make sure there's no debris on the front of the AC condenser, and check between the AC condenser and the radiator for more debris, grass clippings, leaves, Walmart bags, frogs, bunnies, whatever. Let's go outside now. I've got a car on the lift waiting. I'm gonna shoot some footage out there with you and walk you through what to check, and how to clean it. Let's go outside. Hey guys, I brought you out to the outside lift here at the shop to go over some of the things I mentioned inside regarding the air dam and cleaning stuff. I've got a really nice C5 here from a customer on the lift today. I'm just gonna use this as kind of a guide to show you what to keep your eyes out for when it comes to making sure that your car is cooling properly. Follow me. First thing you're going to see under the car here is we have the 3-piece air dam. We have a left and a right in front of the tires, and then Alan, if you'll come over here, this is the center air dam. This is the most important piece on the car because this is what is catching air and forcing it up over your air conditioning condenser and your radiator. Without it, if you take this off because you don't like the look of it, your car isn't going to cool properly. Also, this is spring loaded because GM knew you'd be hitting stuff with it. But if this is broken, or if the springs are missing, or if it's been installed upside down and like this, which I have seen, and is completely blocking airflow, your car isn't going to cool properly. So what you want to do is make sure that this is in place. Check back here. Step around here, Alan. You want to make sure that these tension springs are in place because that's what gives it its kind of ability to spring back. Your mounting points here and here you want to make sure aren't bent. You want it nice and at that angle that you're seeing it right here in this video. Once you've made sure that this is in place, you want to take a look up into the hole above it. Come on over here, Alan. This car is an excellent example. You can see the debris that this car has sucked up. Now, this one's only covering about 25% of the condenser, but that's 25% cooling you're not getting. And trust me, especially in spring and summer, where there's all kinds of leaves, grass clippings, plastic bags, rabbits, whatever, I've seen this covered almost 80% and the car won't cool correctly. So this is where you get up here, even if you have to do it on your back, lay up here, get up there with a vacuum cleaner with a long nozzle like a shop vac and get all that stuff sucked out of there, being careful not to bend the fins on the condenser. I'm now going to lower the car and show you what else to access. Looking at the engine from the top, now I'm going to show you what I was talking about debris that can form between the radiator and the condenser. Again, we're using a C5, very similar on the C6, very similar on the C7, okay? To access the space between those two units, you have to remove a couple of things. First of all, you're going to remove your air cleaner and bridge assembly. Now, this does not take a great deal of skill. You're going to loosen this big clamp right here at the throttle body. You're going to pull up these two pins, unplug the mass airflow sensor, and then unplug, there's a rubber tube that goes to this nozzle right here. You can see that tube right here. Unplug all that, and then this stuff, kind of undo these little suction guys right down there on the frame. This you take out and set aside. Then you've got this cover. There are 4 bolts that hold this cover down. Take those off, and this just lifts right off. And now we can see our radiator and our condenser. You see all the debris here, okay? And I don't know if you can see it, Alan, if you can get that video down to look in here at all of the grass clippings and garbage that are covering the radiator in this car. Again, this isn't bad. This is about normal. But once you've accessed this, using an air hose, go ahead and blow all that stuff out of there, vacuum out what you can, blow out the rest. That will do more than anything. Between the air dam and cleaning these two spaces will do more than anything to make sure your car is cooling this summer. So that's it for Lyle's summer checklist. Go ahead and make sure you check these things. If you have questions about what you see, or you see something that doesn't look right and you're not sure what it is, feel free to comment down below and I will get back to you as quickly as I can and try to help you solve your problem. You can always email me at lyle@corvettepartscenter.com. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful July 4th weekend. Please be safe. We want you to come out with all 10 fingers, assuming you still have them, and have a great time. Be smart, have fun, and I'll see you next week.